Good afternoon and welcome to your weekly FX options report. Today is Wednesday, August 17, 2011. In midweek trade, the major U.S. stock averages have turned mixed after rallying at the open. This week, global equity markets are seeing some stabilization following volatility in the previous week. Now, starting out with this week's economic data releases, producer prices in the U.S. for the latest month came in hotter than expected. PPI for July gained by 0.2%, its fastest pace in 6 months. Now, the gain in PPI prices came as tobacco prices rose, and that did offset the decline seen in energy prices. Core PPI gained by 0.4%. Meanwhile, taking a look at global economic data releases, Eurozone CPI for the month of July declined by 0.6%. And while we're on the topic of the Eurozone, in the previous session, France's President Sarkozy and Germany's Chancellor Merkel proposed taxes on financial transactions, but proposed no Eurozone bonds. Now, taking a look at the spot FX market, the U.S. dollar is trading lower against the majors in midweek trade. At the same time, the Swiss franc, is seeing gains against both the euro as well as the U.S. currency. Now, the Swiss National Bank expanded its liquidity policy, but stopped short of announcing a currency peg for the Swiss franc. Now, one way to trade your views on U.S. dollar strength or weakness is to take a look at IC's FX options. One advantage is that they are U.S. dollar denominated. For more information, you can go to www.fxoptions.com. And in our next segment, which is your IC FX options daily trend report, we'll start out with a look at the AUX, the U.S. dollar against the Australian dollar. Now, for that pair, the Aussie against the U.S. currency against the Aussie is posting a technical rebound in a bearish trend. That pair has broken above that bearish trend line, and therefore the preference of trading central analysts is long positions above 92.50, with targets coming in at 99.40 and 102 in extension. Moving on to the BPX, the U.S. currency against the British pound, that pair is under pressure. The BPX has struck against its resistance, and therefore the preference of trading central analysts is short positions below 63, with targets coming in at 60.50 and 59.75 in extension. For the CDD, the US dollar against the CAD, a technical rebound in a bearish trend is expected. The ARSA has broken above that declining trend line, and it is approaching its next resistance. Therefore, the preference of trading central analysts for that pair is long positions above 95.75, with targets coming in at 101.50 and 103.50 in extension. Moving on to the UI, the dollar against the euro, the downside does prevail. The pair remains under pressure, and it is also approaching its support. Therefore, the preference of trading central analysts is short positions below 72, with targets coming in at 68.90 and 68 in extension. For the SFC, the dollar against the Swiss franc, the downside also prevails. The pair is pulling back on its new resistance, and the RSI is capped by declining trend line. The preference of trading central analysts is short positions below 80, with targets coming in at 75 and 71 in extension. Last but not least, for this segment, let's take a look at the YUK, the dollar against the yen. That pair is currently under pressure, and it is challenging its support. Therefore, the preference of trading central analysts is short positions below 79.80, with targets coming in at 76 and 75 in extension. And now moving on to your weekly trend opinion, the U.S. dollar remains under pressure against the majors, and also it has started to weaken against the exotic pairs. Now, in terms of portfolio performance, it does remain unchanged from the previous week. Since its inception, which was in August of 2007, it does remain higher by 2537.02%, and since the beginning of this year, January of 2011, it is higher by 702.02%. Now, we do have two trade alerts for you right now, including puts on the YUK and calls on the NDO. Starting out with the calls on the YUK, that pair is currently under pressure, and it is also challenging its previous low. Now, regarding calls on the NDO pair, a further decline in the US dollar is expected. And for this pair, it has rebounded on its support, and it is expected to post a further advance towards its previous high. This week, trading central analysts will be keeping a close eye on the EUI, the BPX, and the SFC. Last but not least, taking a look at next week, trading central analysts will be keeping a close eye on the following ICFX option pairs, including the SKA, the PCO, the AUX, the NZD, and the CDD. With the SKA, the dollar against the Swedish krona, it has struck against its strong resistance at 66 and also shaping a bearish flag. For the PCO, it has struck against its resistance at 125.50 and remains under pressure. Regarding the AUX, it has broken above a medium-term declining trend line, and remains capped by a resistance at 99.40. For the NZD, the pair stands below its resistance at 125.75, and for the CDD, it is posting a rebound but does remain within a medium-term bearish channel. And that does wrap it up for this week's FX Options Report. Thanks for watching and have a great week.